Hi, I'm Pauline.
Hey, I'm Priscilla.
I'm Paul.
And I'm Tamiron, and welcome to the P3T podcast.
Woo!
Yay! You can start.
In case I don't forget again.
There you are.
This is fake.
Don't put it on blast. Hey, but welcome to another episode of the P3T podcast. This is the 21st episode.
Wow.
So happy. So today we have a very interesting discussion, and it's basically about vows of rebellion. So I'm going to give a brief explanation by what I mean. So basically, from what you've seen others go through, or maybe yourself, what you've gone through, you've decided you won't do something. So I'll give an example of myself. No, let me not give an example of myself for now. Let me give a random example. So maybe you grew up in a single parent household, and then you're like, no, I don't care. I'm not going to raise my child alone. So yeah, that becomes your vow of rebellion. So sometimes it works, other times it's not the best decision to make. And so basically our conversation will be around, does it work or does it not work? Or in which situations do they work and in which situations are they impractical to make? So our first question of the day is, have you made a vow of rebellion, or have you ever made a decision not to do something, and then, like maybe forever, and then you broke that, whatever, you broke that vow? So I'll start with myself. I remember, I've said this like 15 million times on this podcast, but I'll say it again. So I was supposed to, wait, what? Oh yeah, when I was when I was younger, I did a bit of coding and I didn't like it at all. And I vowed to myself that I would never do any coding because it was hard and I didn't like it. But then today, I am doing an IT course, and a lot of that is coding. So obviously I broke that vow of rebellion. So I guess we'll start from Priscilla. Tell us, have you ever made any of these vows that you broke?
Yeah. Mine was not to enter an unserious relationship. I'm fresh from healing. It's fine. Yeah, but in real sense, for me, I told myself that in real sense, I'd not want to get into a relationship that's not heading anywhere. Especially in the long term, because I'm not this kind of person who likes to waste time or have my heart broken multiple times and wake up, dust myself, and move on. If I'm getting into a relationship romantically, I'm getting it for the sole purpose of it's heading to marriage or something long term in real sense. But recently I was character developed proper, and it's still healing. And in real sense, it's not like I had purposed to enter whatever this was. It wasn't even a relationship. It was a situationship. But I had purpose not to intertwine myself with something that was not heading anywhere. But I did. But in real sense, like, I saw the red flags, but I ignored it. And I mean, ignored them, not it, them. And
Can you guys see this lady that's like, is it a red flag? Because it looks more like burgundy to me.
Yes. That was me. Actually, I'd probably say I was seeing all the red flags as pink because they weren't there. It's like, it was just an excuse, or like making up excuse for him. And either Either way,
Healing.
I made a clownery out of myself. It's fine. It's fine. I'm wiping it off with my tears. It's fine. It's fine. We shall move. Yeah.
Pal.
Yeah, mine is not as heavy as these people's, but I was very terrified of driving. Not that I'm not terrified of driving now, but I was driving ekunibamba. You know, I wanted to be the designated passenger. But then when we finished high school and a couple of months had passed, my parents were like, okay, now you guys have to go. Now you guys, me and my sister, you have to go to learn how to drive. And I was like, no, is it necessary? Ni must kweli. Kambiwa, enda tu, where's jua? So I went, I was forced into it. I did it regardless. I did it to my best effort, and I managed to pass my exam because I didn't want to waste the money my parents had spent here. But I didn't want to go. Like, nilikuwa naamka asubuhi nadhani huku ni mali naenda kweli. And then we get into I think it was my first class or my second day of driving school ever. I was put behind the wheel. I was like, do you want to die? Are you wishing a death wish upon yourself, Mr. Instructor? So yeah, so it was pretty scary and it was pretty sketchy, but yeah, here I am now, grateful that I'm able to drive. But even now, like in my family, we have 5 people in my family, but I won't count my brother for now because he rides solo. Yeah. So now, as dependents, me and my sister, my dad, and my mom, the hierarchy of people who drive, it's my dad, my sister, my mom, and then me. Like, if there's no other option available, that is what I will drive. But I'm grateful for the opportunity to get to drive because then, like, if maybe, for example, my dad swings by to pick me up from school and he's really tired, I'm glad I can give him a break. Or if one of my other relatives are tired, I'm glad I can give them a break. So, yeah. Yeah, but that is something. Hadi sahi nashanga, nilijipata hapa aje. Kweli.
I don't think I can say I've ever made like a vow of rebellion. I think it's more of I make plans for my life, like how I want my life to go. But if those things don't go according to that plan, I don't think I hold on. Like if things arise that cause me to deviate from that plan, I'd like to say after going through pain, I generally let go. Especially now, like ever since I left university, I've stopped.
Kwani umemaliza? Are you working? I was yet on holiday.
Lucky.
Because she has a year old, now I'm joking.
Ever since I left high school is what
I'm sorry. High school is the new college.
please.
You're gonna check.
I said it with such confidence.
You're really seeing that today. You're really seeing that
I really
today.
Anyway, ever since I left high school and entered the real world, I've learned to not make too extreme statements about my life because it really could go anyway. So I try to stay away from that. So I don't think like nothing comes to mind when you ask me that.
I think as we were all talking, I remembered something we had talked about pre-recording, the whole Jonah situation. And
Jonah from the Bible.
yeah, Jonah from the Bible, guys. And the way he was supposed to go to Nineveh. Nineveh.
I miss Julie.
Whatever.
Sawa.
And he refused. I was like, no, me, I'm not going. That is a serious vow of rebellion. And God was like, oh, you're not going? Oh, okay, I will show you. You will go. And he went through very unconventional means, but he went. Anyway, so on to our next question. What vows have you made of rebellion that you don't think will ever change, like, or you're ever breaking? Priscilla.
Okay, for me, I have a couple. The first one is I think a lot of people would agree on this, but like having an abusive partner, having some kind of experience in that department, especially seeing how my parents' relationship was. That's one thing I'm never going to compromise on. So I think that's one thing I can't like. It's one thing that even if my partner were to hit me for my own sake and for my, even if I were to have kids and I'm in an abusive relationship, sometimes I think the more that you stay in an abusive relationship, it has repercussions also on the children. So you're not doing them any good, because a lot of people would mistake staying in a marriage for the kids, an abusive marriage for the kids, yet you're thinking it's for the betterment of them, but it's not in real sense, because you're creating a whole terrible mentality about even men or about even how marriage is. And marriage is not anything bad, it's something good and something that should be enjoyed. And yeah, basically that's one thing I don't think I'd ever compromise on. Another thing would be, what's it called, okay, I said this even in the previous one, but dating with a purpose. Let me be honest, I am not the type of person who would enter a relationship without seeing where it's going or having a future in that, or seeing that future or the possibility of that future happening. So that's one thing I'm not ready to compromise on. Hizi vitu za hivi hivi ati short term. That's not my thing. But yeah, another, okay, I'm sure a lot, Pal, Pauline, and if also you might have something else to contribute that I'd agree on. So yeah.
Pal.
I think I agree with Priscilla's first one. One is the same. Just never, ever, 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 ever staying in an abusive relationship because of the children. That is if I have, uh, even if like there's a glimmer of opportunity to leave, because like we can't say always a woman should leave her husband, because then if she leaves she goes to the streets, and then maybe she might die, or like she has no other support. So circumstances are different for different people, and we are not going to, or rather I'm not going to knock anyone for doing something when there's no avenue for them to leave. So that is, if I have the option to, I would leave. I would grab it and go. And yeah, I don't know, we'll sort it out later with God, but yeah, I think I would. Yeah, that's mine. I don't think there's anything else. I don't have anything serious. Okay, that's serious, but I don't have anything else. Like,
Anything.
yeah, like I but don't want to do this in future. Yeah, I don't have anything.
I think, Priscilla.
To add on to my point, another thing I guess I wouldn't be ready to compromise on is sex before marriage. Because
Voluntarily.
yeah, voluntarily, because like the thing is, it's one thing I'd like really keep myself accountable on, like kwanza in these streets, man, it can be very temptatious. Tempting, yes, very
New vocabulary, Priscilla dictionary coming out soon.
it's very tempting, really. Like the way sex has become something just
Casual.
Like it's become a necessity. But I still hold it to the sanctity it carries. And even as per what the Bible says, I think it's one thing I want to live by. And I like a challenge. I don't want to put myself in a compromising situation, but at the same time I'd like to hold myself accountable for it. So I think that's one thing I'd probably not be ready to compromise on. Like if I'm dating someone and they ask her, can we do the deal? I'm like, no, I am waiting till I'm married.
Am I your wife?
Yes,
Can I just add? I think something that I've learned and that I think I'll keep is not rushing into things, into anything, financial decisions, relationships, anything. I don't rush to them, because I've rushed into a lot of things and I've come out very burnt by the fire. So, yeah, and then also I've seen a lot of people rush into a lot of things, and even then they come out burnt by the fire. So, something that I hope to adopt. I don't know. I can't tell you. I'll never, but I hope, like when opportunities arise and situations come my way, I hope to never rush into a situation unless I'm like 100% sure this is okay. I've taken it to God and everything. But if that rare situation doesn't happen, then I hope never to rush into anything. I just ease my way into a lot of things. Yeah.
I think for me, similar to what Priscilla said, sex before marriage is a no-no. And then also getting into a relationship, especially one that could potentially lead into marriage with someone who, like, our belief system is not the same. Like, they are not of the faith.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
no.
I agree. That's the first one I strongly agree.
Yeah.
And I've agreed with all the others. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's very much in the core of who I am.
Yeah.
So, like, hey, no. Yeah. That is that for me. Yes, Pauline.
Someone asked me recently. So the question is basically,
You just started laughing for it, and it was like, yeah. That's what I think I can
the thing is, it's not even funny. But basically, the question is like, as not just Christians, like a lot of people who hold to a certain faith, a very big thing is, let me not say certain faith, because there are some faiths that are just kind of easy, do what you want. But like, let me talk about Christianity because that's what I know. But like, for a lot of Christians, not all of them obviously, but quite a number of them, it's always I'm looking for a godly wife or a godly husband or someone that's building their relationship.
Yeah.
So then what happens if you fall in love with someone who isn't a Christian? Do you ignore them? So that's what the question I was asked. So I want to pose it to you, but I also want to answer. So I don't know if you guys want to answer first. Am I answer first? Okay, so my thing was, I genuinely don't think I can. I feel like I can be in like with a lot of people, but like I feel like that process of falling in love it like requires so many things. I don't think I can accidentally fall in love with someone. Like it's going to, when it does happen, it's going to be very, very intentional. So I don't think that whole idea of, oh, I really like this. Like, can I find a guy that's not a Christian attractive? Sure,
Yes.
of course, 1,000%. But like, am I willing to settle down with a guy and start a family with a guy who we don't share the same faith? It's scary. Scary sana.
What I can say, I don't.
Yeah.
What I can say to that is, like love, liking, all that relationships are tricky because the people who are asking this question, sometimes like you could meet someone and then like you're friends with them, but then now feelings start to develop. You can say that you've fallen in love with that person. Truly, you can say you fall in love with them. But I watched this lady once. I watched like a video of some YouTuber, and she was saying she doesn't think that you have one person that you're meant to be with, because if you look at widows and widowers, they remarry and they genuinely fall in love. And even people who date, you could break up with someone, but you were genuinely in love with them at the time that you are together. So yes, I think you can fall in love with someone who's not a Christian, but also you can work to develop that type of, you can work to fall in love with someone. Okay, not to work, but there's a good possibility that you'll find someone else that you can be in love with. But I agree with what you said. Love comes with intentionality, where don't put yourself out there to this person when you know they are not a Christian. But in the event that you put yourself out there to this person who's not of the same faith as you, and obviously your goal is to marry someone of the same faith, I don't know what I was saying. What have I just said? And your goal,
Don't put yourself out there.
so don't put yourself out there. when you know, like, it's not going to,
Work
he's not
out.
going to you're not going to change him.
Yeah.
You're not going to change him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, just don't work to falling in love with them. But I think there's a possibility, but still, they are not the only fish in the they're not the only ones in the world. They're not the only fish in the sea. But people are not fish. But anyway, that was a metaphor. It was an expression. Yeah.
I think to that question, for me, could you repeat it again? Like
Would you fall
if
in
love
love
with someone who's not of my same faith, of the same faith as
No,
me?
it was actually
What?
you fallen in love with a non-Christian. Then
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, that's actually a
I
better
don't
way to
think
phrase
I
it.
answered it. Boy.
I think for that case, then, in my honest opinion, how I view things or my belief system, I think it's possible for someone to fall in love and have a healthy relationship with someone who's not of the same faith. I know faith is a big factor for most people, but for me, yes, it's a big factor, yes, but in a way, I feel like if we're driven by the same principles, because in real sense, a lot of belief systems carry the same principles, in my opinion, like from Islam.
Oh, like be a good person.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's a general.
Yeah.
No one is going around telling people
Kill
your neighbor.
Exactly. I find a lot of faiths carrying the same basic humane principles. Obviously, there are some things you might not agree on. But at the same time, I know it's a plus for you to have someone of the same faith. But at the same time, I don't think it's a barrier for you to have a healthy relationship.
hey, I have a question.
Yeah.
Why?
For you,
Controversy,
so now-
controversy.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, it's nice, you have the same blah blah blah. But then what happens when you're in a situation where like now you have kids?
Kids, how will you raise them?
Yeah, how will you raise
Okay,
them?
that one.
Can I
What
support
if-
you? Can I support you there? Hi, my name is Karen. You've probably had me on here before. It's difficult. It's not that it's not going to be difficult.
But it's not impossible.
Yeah, even you and your fellow Christian, nini unataka kuchapa watoto na pia mtaelekana.
Exactly.
You understand? And so yes, it's because like I've seen that dynamic. Like it was the relationship was a Muslim and a Christian.
Same.
And this man, the lady was a Christian. This man loved her. And she stresses herself to go to the market, to go and pambana with to go for shopping. No, she's too weak for that. Not too. I don't mean like she's too weak as in like misogynistic, but like she's a lady. She shouldn't carry heavy things. Meaning that I'm not her baby. I do all the heavy lifting. Even until she wanted to start her business, he supported her, put everything behind her. Yani, if you're looking for the definition of a supportive husband, he's it to the T. What did he have? They weren't in the same of the same faith. And so when it came to their kids speaking between like religions, they were like Mr. Kikona Sunday, so we become Muslim. So but still they found that was the faith that catered to their needs best. And so they still were able to carry to go through their marriage and whatever, and still they were able to raise their kids. Their kids equally respected and loved their mom and their dad. Their mom and their dad had a healthy relationship till the day she was in the grave. They had a healthy relationship.
Even
But
like to add on to that point, there's also a couple that I know of that are both Muslim and Christian dynamic, and how they raise their kids is one, like, see the way like we have this week. This week we'll have Friday, we'll go to the mosque. Next week we'll go to church. So they have like both principles. Yeah, it's not easy, but it's not impossible. True. It's like they expose their children to both religions until they are of age. So when they are 16 or 18, because they're a little bit, they are now in their teenhood right now. So when they are in the right mind of making the decision of the faith that they want to choose, then they are at free will. If the son wants to be a Christian, you do you. If the daughter wants to be Muslim, you do you. That I feel like, as long, the way the Bible says, train up your child on the way to go, they have done that. They've trained up their children on the way to go, either Islam as the
It's not in
father.
the ways of the Lord.
Yeah, it's yeah.
It's
yeah.
the way to go.
Yeah.
It's the way to go.
I know you have much to say.
Yeah.
But here's what I'd like to say about. I know what you're going to say. Here's what I'd say about it. About
Oh, yeah.
What
Let
you-
her say
what am
it
I- Wait. I just want to say this before because I will talk again. Are you sure? What I'd say is, in the end, even when you're getting into relationship with anyone, you have to make sure both of you are on the same page about a lot of things because it mitigates conflict later. You being of the same faith helps to mitigate a lot of conflict, but still you being on the same page about kitu ya opposites attract ni uongo. Yes, you'll be attracted to them, but still it will bring so much conflict later. Yeah. So even in terms of faith, I think even God had sio ati Mungu aliambia Paul akaandika kama amefunga macho, akaandika na hasira. Like there's a reason for everything, and it's just being of the same faith heavily helps you to mitigate conflict.
Yes.
I think being of the same faith, first of all, number one, Jesus should be your everything. God should be your number one in your life. Yeah. And even though like someone might not feel right now like Jesus is the number one in their lives, that should be the goal. First and foremost, your first priority is God, not your family, not your boyfriend, not your sister, not your dog, not your cat,
Not even your children.
not even your children. Your number one should be Jesus. And the Bible says the only way to the Father is through me.
Jesus.
So, and their goal is to get to heaven. Do you want to, I don't mean to sound controversial, but do you want to get to heaven alone? That's the question you should ask yourself. Or do you want to get to heaven with your whole family and you're rejoicing? Do you want to get to the gates of heaven and you're the only one who's entering? That's a question you should ask yourself.
That's a question my mom asks me all the time.
Yeah. So I don't mean to sound controversial. I'm not bashing anyone of any faith. If you have any faith, I know even you think you want to go to heaven. I know. But that's one question I would ask you, because marry somebody and you don't have the same faith and whatever, but it's so good like to pray with your family and to pray with your husband and to have the same goals and you know what you're doing. It's nice to go to church and you're going with your family because you train them in the ways of the Lord, not because you and your husband today we are going to the mosque, tomorrow we are going to church, because even maybe the children now might be torn. They might feel conflicted with the teachings that they're getting. Maybe they might feel that they're picking a side. It's when you're married, the goal is for you to be a team. What better way to be a team if not a team in Christ? Hey. So I just think if Jesus is your number one, then all your priorities in life and everything that you do in life should surround His good and His will for humanity. If you can marry John, I don't know. That's all I have to say.
Can I add?
Yeah.
Just as we wrap this topic of discussion up, because this was not the title. I just wanted to say it also boils down to how I don't want to say how important your faith is, but how strongly you believe in your faith. Because like Paul mentioned, if you truly believe the only way to the Father is through the Son, then you wouldn't want your children to believe anything else. You wouldn't want even your husband to believe anything else, So to sit here and say Christian and Muslim relationships or Christian and non-Christian relationships don't work would be a lie. They work. They work. They truly do work. There are multiple examples of them working.
They could be hard, but they
do work.
Yeah.
But it all boils down to, what do you want? How strongly do you believe what you believe? And so the thing is, if you truly do believe it strongly, then what you're going to do in this relationship is you're going to spend your life trying to convert your husband. You're going to spend your life trying to direct the children, because your husband is also going to, he's a Muslim. Let's say, hypothetically speaking, he's a Muslim. He also wants his children to be Muslim. It's not only you who wants your children to be Christian. So he's going to also equally be pulling them in the direction of Islam, just as you're trying to pull them in the direction of Christianity. So it's kind of just, it works for sure, but I don't think anybody should be striving for that. I mean, you do you. At the end of the day, none can tell you what to do, but
Just to add something, okay, like I've been in a journey of reading like multiple books. So I've started reading the Bhagavad Gita, which is like the Bible for Hinduism, and also I've touched a little bit on the Quran, and I've also the Bible. But one thing that I've realized in all these faiths is that they carry a lot of similarity. And I know. Hold up. Is that they carry a lot of similarity. The same way, in my honest opinion, the same way as a Christian, you'll have that fire burning for Christ Jesus. I'm not against that. That is good. I'd say I'm not so open about it, but yes, I believe Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life, and no one can go through the Father but through him. It's the same way a Muslim would believe their own faith. It's the same way a Hindu would have that same fire and believe that y'all or all of us will go to hell because we believe in Christ Jesus. And I don't know, like I don't want to get like misconcepted, but like in the Hindu book I'm reading, or the Bhagavad Gita, like they even have nearly the same principles of like the Godhead, the Holy Spirit, the Father, such things, like God being split in three and being one at the same time, like Trinity and all that. Either way, cutting it short, I feel like, as Pauline said, it's you to know what you can take, what you can compromise on, and what you can't. Because in real sense, if you can have that fire for God and all that, and you know that you can't do without a man or a woman who is not for God or who's not in the same faith, that's up to you. If you feel you can handle the kind of responsibilities that come with having a spouse and having a family that will be split in terms of faith, that's up to you. But yes, it does, as Karen said, it does come with its perks, but it doesn't mean that it's impossible. And it can work.
Now I'm curious. Would it, okay, because personally, no.
You would.
Me, I wouldn't compromise.
Yeah.
Strong like that.
So would it be something you would compromise on?
I wouldn't say I would compromise on, but it's something I wouldn't mind. It's something that, if it happens, if indeed I get a good person who is okay, like in real sense, I wouldn't, it's not something, I wouldn't mind in real sense. Like if we are of different faiths, I wouldn't mind. But there's always a but. But like it's my priority really, as Paul mentioned, obviously, it would be nice to have someone who is of the same faith, but it's not something like I cannot marry a man who's not of my faith. It's not like that intense, but it would be nice to have someone of that faith, of my faith, of Christianity, like someone you can pray with, because it would save you from a lot of trouble and responsibilities that come with not being in the same faith. But at the same time, I wouldn't mind.
No, but like, look,
I understand you.
I wouldn't mind.
I understand.
This is why you're wrong.
But okay, now like think about the family. Si watakutumia demons za kwao.
Honestly,
asking the different questions.
Yeah, because I have a friend, whose parents were of different religions and they weren't married. But by the time she was born, their parents weren't married, but the families are of different religion. And because, gosh, you might just have to change the title of this episode. and because now the mom was discriminated against by the dad's side because she wasn't of the same religion.
Faith.
Yeah, so she just had to leave. She left her and her child and they left. They're
I
left
feel like there'd be
completely.
so much opposition.
Yeah, because now people, okay, it's true that you're not marrying your in-laws.
Yeah, but
But
kind
it's
of,
you're
yeah,
kind of
that's-
marrying into the family, but then that's what I'm saying.
It's not going to be easy.
It's not going to be easy, and the relationship is something that you need to have a sit down and a dynamic, a whole broad conversation with your spouse. Because in real sense, actually I even wrote it in my blog, sorry. I had wrote it in my latest article.
blog.
Zoe's articles, WordPress, either way. It's my latest. It's about commitment. Things you need to talk about before you get married. Number one, finances, obviously. Number two, your love languages. Number three, what you're ready to what cheating is to you. Both
How
of
you want to raise the
how
children.
you want to raise
If you want
children.
children.
Yes,
etc.
and one of them was family. How involved will your family be in your relationship?
You can't. I don't think you can.
Yes, you can. You
No.
no, it's really
It's what's the word? It's a utopic way of thinking.
but if you set
Wow, that's a
boundaries,
nice word. I like it.
setting boundaries is now what matters. And at the same time, these are conversations, even religion. I also talked about religion in my article. These are things you need to have a sit down with your partner for you to fully discuss whether you'll be ready to compromise on or not. That's why I'm saying it's an individual decision. Yes, it works for some people, it doesn't work for some people. There are people who've been in Christian marriages and it doesn't work out. Exactly. So you can find the right person who is not in that faith, and you can find the wrong person in your faith. Period.
So you just find the right person in your face.
No, but here's the thing. As I said before, it's clear that with the widows and widowers, there is not just one person there for you.
Yes.
You get. So I would recommend if you can find a Christian. Sorry, you can find a Christian. Please. That would be my recommendation for you to grow together with them. But someone who's good, because there are some Christians who are just by mouth. Yeah. And then also I would like to issue a disclaimer. Gosh, if you have any other religion, I do not mean to offend you. Please, you can come and offend me if you want. But I don't mean to offend you with anything that I have said. Yeah, that's just
I think also, I was going to talk about this idea of the right person. I think it's first of all, I think it's very unhealthy, and then I think it's very narcissistic to believe that somebody on this earth exists for the sole purpose of marrying you. Please, so I don't think to say like you've met this person and you're truly in love with everything. You're in love with every fiber of your being. You know this person is like they're going to be it. This is it for you.
Yeah.
I think to say that doing that and then the only thing is now they don't share a faith, and now that is it's just like a minor thing, or you've just like brushed it aside and it's kind of like not that big a deal. I think it creates this idea that you can't find the same in a Christian man, which isn't true. Honestly, at the end of the day, only you can decide what is right for your life.
Yeah.
So, we all have differing opinions on what is right, what is wrong. But at the end of the day, only you seated in your house with the family that you want to start can decide what is right. But it's also important to note that if you are going to go as a Christian, if you're not a Christian, this obviously does not apply to you.
Yes, please.
And I don't mean just like Christian by mouth. I mean like actively trying to go deeper in the word or deeper in your relationship with God. If you're going to make this decision to start a family with someone who isn't Christian, pray. Aki, pray with every fiber of your being, because those battles you're walking into are not going to be easy to fight.
Yeah. I feel like sorry.
it's okay.
I'm just thinking of all that could just go wrong. I feel like it's not even worth it. Like, you have opposition from families, and obviously a lot of the times you might not even be in the same like position, like same. You might not be in the same time. Like, it's just too much of a struggle. Yani, I'm seeing all these battles that are coming, and I'm just like, they're not that worth it. They're not worth it at all.
And if he's atheist.
Hey!
But also, here's the thing though.
Yeah.
You can be Christian out there, but like you can just be Christian for in the sense that Christianity seems pretty cool to you. So it's not really in a sense of you think Christianity is truth, you just think it's okay. So if like this is you, again, do whatever you want.
Yes.
Because like for you, definitely leaving the faith wouldn't be too big a deal for you. You know, like switching things up wouldn't be too big a deal for you. So like Jibambe, do as you please.
What did you ask if he's atheist? Very difficult.
Me, my thing with atheists is I'm just scared of them. Because I think all of them already assume I'm a bit of an idiot for being a Christian.
Yeah.
So, like, chances are if he's atheist, we're not going to be in a relationship because of me, but just because he doesn't want.
Even me because of me.
Well, yeah, because of me, but I don't know. I can't say I've met atheists who are.
I feel like you'll be
comfortable.
condescending to me.
Yeah, it's
The
going to
whole
be
of
very
our
condescending.
I've met atheists and they I don't know if they're atheists, but I'm pretty sure they are. But they were fine with who I was as long as I was fine with who they are. So you see, now if you get into a relationship with somebody who's not of your faith, you both have to be fine with who the other person is.
That means no conversion, no talking about faith in the household.
Yeah, because now you see the danger of now marrying somebody by different faith is that if your relationship with God strengthens, and then to the point where, because right now as we're talking about people whose number one priority is Jesus, yeah. So right now your number one priority is not Jesus. It's just like somebody who's okay, who's kind, who has the same vision for their life-ish as me, you know. But if you get to the point where now you've grown in your faith and Jesus is your priority, that is when now you'll start having issues, especially like internally, a lot of like conflict within yourself, yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So so now with the atheists that I've met, they are okay. They've been okay. They're okay with who I was, and me was okay with who they are. Even like people of different religions, yeah. One of my closest friends, I've said this before, she's Muslim. Gosh, if you listen to this, I don't mean to hurt you. So she's one of
The thing though, they probably think the same.
Yeah,
exactly.
So, one of my closest friends is Muslim, and like I don't know, I wouldn't, you know, the way people are like, oh, try and change people who are around you. You know, if she decides to switch, she'll switch, but I'm not going to like force it down her, pressurize her into it, you know. So yeah, it's actually something that I think about when I meet her. It's, oh my gosh, hi, how are you? I have these stories, you have those stories. So like me, I tell her stories about church. She tell me stories about, I don't know, like when she was when they were going through Ramadan, she'd tell me her struggles, yeah. And it was like most of these stories are like really interesting to hear, and mine are usually really funny because it's just like misfortunes in church, you know, or with church activities. So so if now with the same thing with the atheists, if you're all like, if they're morally upright and if they're okay with you and you're okay with them, you can ride together like that. But then I wanted to say these two verses. The first verse, I didn't want to bring it up, but
it's okay.
Nobody's going to bring it up anyway. That's verse for not being equally yoked with unbelievers. I think that's something that you should think about, because when you put yourself, I don't know, I think friendship, it's okay for you to be friends with anyone. It doesn't really matter because you need people. Yeah, but you're putting yourself at the same level with this person when you're getting married to them. So you're equally yoking yourself with them. So anyway, so there's that verse. And then there's also Paul who said, it's better to be single than for you to be married. So before you romanticize, before you get to the point of, I'm so desperate for marriage that I'm willing to do anything for it, just remember, it's better to be single than to be married. Join me on this journey. I'm here.
I literally Googled equally yoked. And an interesting article popped up. What does the Bible say about being equally yoked and dating non-believers? Literally, that's just what popped up. Okay, yeah, basically that verse you're talking about was 2 Corinthians 6:14.
Also, it's Team Paul.
14.
Wow, look at
Yeah.
me.
Paul.
Shining.
14, 15.
Paul.
Do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. For what partnership has righteousness with lawlessness, or what fellowship has light with darkness? What accord has Christ with Belial, or what portion does a believer share with an unbeliever?
I feel like before you continue, maybe like explaining what that meant for Gen Z. If the way like when you put okay, maybe you might not know because that I mean as younger too humans. But when you put a plow, when you put the yoke, hiyo yoke si ndio kitu inafutanga hizo vitu zenye zinalima.
Yeah.
So when you put it on the cows, on the ox, sorry. When you put it on the livestock, on the oxen, then they have to be going at the same, like they have to be going together, like side by side.
Yeah.
If one of them goes mbele, even kidogo itanyongwa.
Yeah.
Because of the nini. So that's what that expression
Equally
means.
yoked.
Yeah.
I think also it's important to note that I think it only becomes a huge deal if it's something as intimate as marriage.
Yeah.
And as intimate as a family or as intimate as so like it would be very hypocritical for me to stand here and be like, don't be friends with non-Christians because like
I have
like even me, I have friends who
friends.
aren't Christian and like some are atheists, some are Muslim, kind of just whatever. So it's not like you can't have relationship with these people, which is why I'm saying it's not impossible. It really isn't. If you want to, by the way, you will thrive.
fine. Yeah.
You will thrive. It's not that you won't thrive, but proceed with caution. Proceed with caution is very important because marriage nowadays is not a big deal, but marriage, biblically speaking, is a very intimate thing, which is why like divorce is such a big thing for Christians because obviously there are situations where divorce is necessary, like if you're constantly in an abusive relationship, nothing is changing, or if if you're suffering, I'm not saying stay in your suffering, but even walking into that marriage shouldn't be a light decision. It's not just about I like this guy, or just about this guy makes good money, or this guy holds the same morals as me. It's so much more than that. As a Christian, if you're not a Christian, does not apply to you. But like as a Christian, marriage is such an intimate, such a heavy thing. I think that's why Paul says it's better to be single than to be married. Because to be married is heavy. To be married is not easy. it's not
literally two
You're becoming
people,
one.
like with individual ways of thinking, individual opinions.
Becoming one. That's why that's what I'm saying. It's as Pauline said, if you can handle it. It calls for introspection. Ujijue. Kama unaweza, well and good. It's advised, recommended you marry someone of the same faith. That is true. If you can find a good Christian man who love you, respect you, and walk in the ways of the Lord and grow together, wonderful. As this podcast, I know for myself, I would want such a man. A man who's Christian, like I've mentioned this before, in Joel Michael. Make intelligent, Christian, honest, amazing, ecstatic, loyal. Those are my checkpoints for my dream guy.
well.
Boys.
Wakenya ndio hii.
Exactly. That's what I'd yearn for. And as a Christian woman, I think that's what every Christian girl would want, right? But sometimes not everything goes as planned. Not everything happens the way we want to. And that's why I wouldn't just say, yes, I can find myself in a situation that, oops, I've fallen for someone and we do not share the same faith. He respects me, he's meek, he's intelligent, he's honest, he's amazing, he's ecstatic, he's loyal, he's missed the sea. What do I do?
I get you. Also, wait, before you say, can I also just mention, I feel like this would be a good time to mention this. But sometimes God can send you to marry a non-Christian. Example, Prophet Hosea. Aliambiwa marry prostitute na akaambiwa akienda mfuate. So, like, it's very much...
By the way,
Yeah.
actually possible.
It is. It's very, very possible. I think it's just... it's not the usual norm.
No, I think I'm getting where
Although, with Jose, I know like the time he married Goma, like she was still in her misadventures. However, even Hosea marrying Goma, I would like to be okay. There's not the nasimanga kwa Hosea. Like I'd like to believe that hapo mwishowe.
She turned to God.
She turned to God. Mungu ni mwema. So don't put yourself in a position because what did he named his children such sad things. Napata mtoto na name sadness, distraction.
Plus, also remember that was supposed to be a metaphor of God's relationship with Israel. So don't put yourself in those shoes.
So Pauline, thank you for being up for that because I didn't know which prophet it was. So thanks for letting us know. But so what I would say, that's what I was going to say, and I think that's where we can all come to a compromise. Yeah. What I'd say is when you find someone and you think, for it, Aki, I don't see my life without this person in it. Because, us are talking here and you've never been in this situation. Someone's upon someone. So, if you find yourself in that position and in that place, take it to Jesus, take it to God and ask. So this was there. It was the will of God for him to marry Goma. I think that is that are you sure that's her name? Okay. Come on, it was his will for him to marry a prostitute. So when you're in that position and you're really feeling conflicted because you genuinely love this guy or you genuinely love this girl, see ati ni jokes. As in kesho neza kuwa umse. If you feel like you're in that position, take it to God and find out the will of God in your life. Don't force your own will upon that situation because that's when what Pauline and Tamiron are saying, the repercussions will follow. So if it is the will of God in your life, for your life to turn out that way, sema sawa and then follow it
and
up.
You're sure that God has revealed that.
But like it's not even a question of maybe it's me, maybe it's God. It's
Like
it's God.
But if, and this ties now into our previous episode of your plan versus God's plan. When you're making that prayer, tell God, if it's not meant to be, shut this door. Shut everything down in this relationship so that it is clear. Yes, you will be hurt. Yes, atusemi utaumia sana. However, if you find yourself in that conflicting situation, just take it to God, and then after you've taken it to God, follow the will of God that He has placed in your specific situation, because not everyone's situation is the same.
That's
true. Can we all agree on that?
Yes.
Tamiron, take it away.
Hey, this conversation has just taken a different tangent. And it's okay. We are going to rename it because now, why not? I think it will be...
Should I marry an unbeliever? Well,
Whatever.
I don't know if it should, because the first half is still very much about the vow.
But yeah, I think
that is
this is a very interesting discussion.
Socratic seminar.
oh my god.
But you know to challenge.
You challenged us. Yeah. But anyway, I think this comes to the end of this episode.
Time.
Wait, and the second question.
So thank you for joining us for this episode. I hope you enjoyed this.
We enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it. Half as much as we enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And if you do, please
Leave your comments.
Leave your comments. Follow us everywhere on Instagram at P3T Podcast. Write us a DM, comment on the snippet, like the post, share.
Maybe don't share my thoughts, but share.
Yeah, even mine, please.
share this episode to your friends, your family, everyone. And yeah, if you want to send us money.
No, it's okay. We don't need donations. We want sponsorships.
I think that's what I meant to say. That's what I was going to say. If you would like to sponsor us in any way or another, let us know on our email at p3t podcastke@gmail.com.
I know my friends think they are outros are such a disaster. Like we're always all contributing about the
It's because none of us actually know it.
But anyway, thank you so much and have yourself a good rest of whatever time of day it is.
Amen.
Bye.
Bye.